Hello friends, neighbors, John your Wist neighbor here, welcome down the Nook. I know it's Sunday, so these should be samples, but I got pretty excited about Laphroaig because James came over and brought both the new Càirdeas 10-year-old, but then also the 2023 Càirdeas White Port Madeira, which I had never had, and so I knew I had to shoot a lot of Laphroaig. Even though I'll give it a nod, it is Happy Ardbeg weekend, or at least yesterday should have been. But today I want to talk about Càirdeas, and I know I'm going back in time, but maybe you tune in to hear about this, the Càirdeas 2023. This is the White Port and Madeira cask finish release of their Friends of Laphroaig Càirdeas annual release. So this will focus on this, but then of course, because I just received it and had some thoughts, I wanted a second dram of this Càirdeas 2024, so I'll compare a little bit. Pour something lovingly peated. Laphroaig will be great, but if you're on an Ardbeg weekend, pour that, and we'll still just sip some nice peated Scotch. 3, 4. Well, thanks for coming back. Hope you have a little bit of Laphroaig in your glass, or Ardbeg, respect to the weekend. This is the 2023 Friends of Laphroaig Càirdeas release. So it is, it's Madeira casks. I think 3/4 of them are aged in second fill Madeira and about 1/4 in port. And it says mostly white port. So it's white port and Madeira cask finished. But the core Laphroaig is distilled and aged first in ex-bourbon. So it's at least got all 3 of those casks going on. Very close to this, 52.3, I believe. This is 52.4. So as I said, this is the 2023 release going back in time, but I actually just poured it now for the first time. I have not had this release of the Càirdeas line. So it is first thoughts right here with you guys. So let's try this one on the nose. It's sweeter and lighter than I recall just sipping some of this yesterday. Yeah, we've got already some peat and some smoke, some wood burning, but sweeter. Could be, words like white port to me sound like a sweet, light fruit, and I'm getting that on the nose. There's a little bit of an interesting cinnamon note or spice note that I haven't recalled getting on Laphroaig just yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of white grape, a little bit of light, fresher fruits, but there's a spiciness. I can't even think what Moroccan spice is right now, but something like that right away, I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of tropical spice. Yep. Absolutely. Whatever that is, I got to unpack that, go up to the kitchen and see like what spice am I getting on there. But for me, it's like something like that. It's light, it's fruit. It's of course, it's got smoke and smolder and peat, but there is something else going on in the nose. Interesting. Right, let's dive in. Sláinte. Okay, so first thoughts brought me into some pretty core Laphroaig. A little sweeter than normal. A little bit of light white fruit than normal. So brighter, lighter fruit, and there is a spiciness. Now it's in the palate. It's kind of just a cracked pepper, yeah, clove, that kind of savory ham spice, and then smokiness. A little bit drying, a little bit more drying than I recall from yesterday. We'll do a head-to-head in a moment. Better try another sip. Sláinte. So I played around with that a little bit longer to try to really get a sense of like, where is this going? There's a few different whiskeys I've had with Madeira, and I tend to like it in this case. And port lately has been crushing it for me. Port for me often brings in chocolate. What's odd is I'm not getting any chocolate here. I'm getting brighter fruits, lighter fruits, oakiness, woodiness, savory spice. I mentioned like it's not quite barbecue juicy, so it's not like barbecue ham, but like that clove. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting some clove, some bay leaf almost. I'm getting a weird bunch of spices, but it's kind of core Laphroaig, a little bit medicinal peat, a little bit coal fire, coal oiliness, and then fruits that are quite light-handed. And I don't know if in this moment it's holding up well enough to really balance, just for me. So like, I like Laphroaig, it's awesome. And this is nice to try it a little bit different. And if I didn't have this here, I'd actually shoot it against a standard, even just the quarter cask or like something just ex-bourbon to really try to pick apart the Madeira and port finishing that's going on here. I think it is speaking brighter fruits, lighter fruits. I just don't know what the balance is like. So if you're tuning in even just from yesterday, you'll have better thoughts in mind of this Càirdeas 2024 Cask Favourites. I just shot it. But these videos live on for a long time, so it may be that you're coming to it after. This Càirdeas fan favorite or Cask Favourite release has a couple of different things. One, it's a 10-year age stamp versus a non-age stamp with the 2023. And of course, the cask makeup here is different. And they mentioned going back to the 2019 Triple Wood, which I know has some Oloroso, and the PX, which of course features PX. So this is older, or they would have had an age stamp on this. That doesn't mean there isn't tenure or even, who knows, age in here, but they've got some younger Laphroaig in here. Here, nothing younger than 10 years. One of the first things you should notice, I'm sure you can even see that on the camera, is the color reflects the sherry finishes versus Madeira and a white port. So it's darker, but what is it like on the nose? Nose chases the color. It's a dark fruit. This continues to move into light white grape. And this is stewed dark fruits or jams. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. I find that so much richer on the palate. Could be a little more age. Could be that right now I'm liking PX and Oloroso. I'm not sure exactly, but it is a thicker fruit. It's a darker fruit. It's that balance of almost older oak with stewed fruit, and then that core Laphroaig peat comes through. Sure, it's oily and coal-fired and medicinal, but it really wraps around the fruit well, or the fruit wraps around that well, or we've cooked and steamed down the fruit. There's, I mentioned yesterday, and I'm getting it already, like a darker orange, candied ginger, little bit of grated cinnamon. It's fresh. Like this has a richer spice profile in the sense of, I talked a lot about a unique and interesting and tropical spice here, but in the palate it's settled into peppers, whereas this is settling like black cracked pepper. This is settling into Christmas spice, cake spice, those kinds of things with an emphasis on ginger. The ginger's on the box, it's suggested, but I can get it coming back to it. I'm gonna enjoy both of these from James. Thank you, sir. While I'm editing this off camera, rather than rushing through any sips here. Right now, my first thoughts, I poured this for the first time. This is now my second dram of this, is like this is fun. And if you like, you know, Madeira finishes, I think you're gonna get that. I don't have enough white port to know if that's heavily influenced, but it's light, it's bright, it's that leaning. It doesn't balance off for me as much as I would like. This Càirdeas Cask Favourites right now is phenomenal. This is second dram here. It's still not like I know this bottle, but it is starting really, really well. This is the kind of thing that if it shows up and you like Laphroaig, this might be one of those must-buys. Thanks for joining me here. I know it's Sunday. Sorry I didn't get the samples, but with all this beautiful Laphroaig showing up at my house Friday night, I thought that's what the weekend is. Thank you. You guys have a great week ahead.